Welcome. Welcome back to Psyche Abridged. This is Run of the Week, where we talk about what happened this week and how it connotes to our wellness. This week's world news isn't just headlines, it's mirrors of what's going on inside our minds as well. So, yes, let's run through it. So, for our first story, we give our tribute to Catherine O'Hara. This week, we lost a true iconic and a comic genius. She was not just an actress, she was a feeling we all carried. Catherine O'Hara passed away on January 30, 2026 at age 71 after a brief illness. Her work spanned decades from sketch comedy to iconic roles and TV hits. Born in Toronto, she started at Second City, a renowned comedy improv theatre. She became part of the SCTV writing and performing characters that shaped comedy in North America. Also, her first primetime Emmy was for writing on SCTV in 1982. Think about the amount of work she's done. Also, there are so many roles of hers that we love and cherish to this day. Starting from Home Alone, she was Kevin's mom, Kate McAllister, grounding a childhood classic. Then we come to Beetlejuice, unforgettable as Diala Dietz, and how can we forget Schitt's Creek? As Moira Rose, she earned Emmy, Golden Globes, SAG Awards, redefining what a comedic lead could be. That's so iconic of her. Her work ranged from mockumentaries, Best in Show, A Mighty Wind, to animated films as well. She worked in Elementals, guys. Comedy like Catherine's does more than make us laugh. It connects us to ourselves. She showed us that awkward is human, weird is lovable, and flaws are funny. When we laugh at life's ridiculousness, we also laugh at our shared human experience. That's not just entertainment, that's emotional resilience in action. So when it comes to Catherine O'Hara, her passing hits because loss touches us even when we didn't know a person personally. It's not just the news, it's a shared grief, and it also is a representation of what she was. When someone who brought joy to millions leaves, it reminds us of impermanence. Not to make life sadder, but to inspire us to cherish connection and laughter while we can. Also, when it comes to comedy per se, comedy has such a healing effect for all of us, right? So today we don't just recall her characters, we remember what she embodied for us. Moira's dramatic detachment, Kate's frantic motherly love. Remember this: comedy heals by helping us feel seen and not judged. Catherine O'Hara didn't just make us laugh, she made us feel things. That's her legacy. Preserve joy, guys. Honor healing, honor feeling. Upwards. That's the real tribute. Now moving to our second story. Have you heard about the butterfly effect before? If not, I'm gonna help you with that today. So a butterfly flaps its wings and somewhere else a storm begins. Sounds poetic, right? It's not, it's actually science. The butterfly effect comes from the chaos theory. Small, seemingly insignificant actions can create massive, unpredictable consequences over time. It's not just about control, it's about sensitivity. Your mind works the same way. One thought left unchecked becomes a belief, one belief repeated becomes a habit, and one habit shapes the direction of your life. Most breakdowns don't begin with trauma or something very big. It begins with a small neglect. One avoided conversation, years of resentment. One day of rest, months of clarity. One moment of kindness, someone choosing not to give up. You never really know which moment mattered the most, right? Healing doesn't need grand gestures. It needs tiny, consistent shifts, like a butterfly. Drink that water, take that walk, pause before reacting, say the truth gently. The smallest choice you make might not change the world, but it can change your nervous system. And that's how storms or calm begin. That's the butterfly effect, where small insights create big inner shifts. So when it comes to public figures, especially, what they say matter. So when they say something, it carries forward and the butterfly effect starts at that time. One reel, one tweet, one sentence, it reaches millions, shapes opinion, starts outrage or comfort. A small emotional impulse travels through algorithms and alters the collective mood. That's the butterfly effect in the digital nervous system. Your mind doesn't jump from calm to chaos, it moves in increments. One thought rehearsed becomes an identity. One unchallenged fear becomes a limit. One moment of courage becomes self-trust. So that means the butterfly flaps matter. Each small increment matters. And healing doesn't begin in dramatic breakthroughs. It's not just gonna happen in one moment. It needs micro interruptions. One conscious breath before reacting, one boundary spoken clearly, one reel when you are seeing something, just being a witness and then thinking about those things properly before coming to a judgment. These are small flaps of that wing. If a small thing can create breakthroughs and they can create breakdowns, they can also create healing. You don't need to change your whole life today. You just need to change the next moment and take actions accordingly, and also look at how the butterfly effect happens across the world. So choose gently what you consume, what you respond to, all of it. And I'm pretty sure your nervous system is going to be happy of that awareness. That's the butterfly effect. Now going to the third story. Lately, the world feels more selfish. But here's the uncomfortable question. Are we seeing selfishness or survival? Self-interest is about preserving yourself without harming others. Selfishness is about benefiting yourself at the cost of others. They look similar on the surface, but psychologically, they come from very different places. People setting harder boundaries, choosing themselves more often, walking away sooner. For generations, we are taught to overgive. This can look selfish, but often it's delayed self-interest. When needs go unmet for too long, the psyche eventually overcorrects. Nations prioritizing themselves, corporations protecting profits, communities retreating inward. In times of uncertainty, systems behave like stressed individuals. They hoard, defend, and narrow their focus. That's not morality failing, that's fear driving decisions. Just look at the world, look at your own self. Our own self, we are driven by self-interest and selfishness rounds, right? We are at times at one end and at the other we are at different places. Think about you as a representation of the entire world at large, of different settings at large, different friendships at large. Self-interest becomes selfishness when empathy disappears. Look at when your empathy and the empathy of the world at large is disappearing. When I need to survive turns into your suffering is not my concern, that is concerning at large. Psychologically, this is a nervous system stuck in their threat mode. A regulated person can hold two truths. I matter and others matter too, right? Self-interest says, I'll take care of myself and stay human. Selfishness says, I'll take care of myself even if it costs other people. What we are witnessing lately isn't pure selfishness. It's a world healing badly. When a healing lacks awareness, it becomes harm. So ask yourself, personally and collectively, am I protecting my energy or am I protecting my fear? That question changes everything. Now coming to our fourth story, our team at Psyche Abridged has been looking at trends of what is working in business world. So here it is. What is actually working in the business lately? Lately, businesses isn't rewarding the loudest, the fastest, or the most aggressive. It's rewarding most regulated individuals. What is working right now isn't endless hustle, it's adaptive capacity. Businesses that survive aren't pushing harder, they are adjusting faster to the trends of the world, and the world at large, we are looking at how it's changing constantly. So adapting to change, that is working best for businesses. A flexible mind outperforms a rigid one. The same one is true for organizations. So individuals, even when it comes to if you want to apply at jobs, look at how adaptive you are. Your adaptability is going to deeply help you. AI is working, but not as a replacement for humans. It's working as an extension of human thinking. When cognition is supported, not threatened, creativity expands. Look at how you can use AI to your own benefit. Fear shuts up and collaboration opens new avenues. Short-term content writing is winning, but shallow brands are not. What works is clarity, consistency, and trust. The brain decides quickly, but it commits slowly. People buy from brands that feel safe, not just exciting. Flexibility over control. Rigid work cultures are leaking talent. Flexible, outcome-based cultures are retaining it. Control signals threat. Autonomy signals safety, and safety is where performance actually improves. The next point is purpose without preaching. Purpose-driven businesses is working, but only when embodied, not marketed. The psyche can sense performative values. Authenticity relates trust. Inconsistency breaks it. What really is working in businesses right now is this: systems that understand the human psychology. Attention, emotion, safety, meaning. These aren't just soft skills anymore. They are infrastructure. The businesses growing right now aren't asking, how do we extract more? They are asking, what and how do we sustain people's energy and trust? That's not just ethics, or good ethics rather. That's good psychology. This is Psyche Abrished, where business trends meet the human nervous system. And that's the run of the week, guys. Before you scroll away, take a moment and reflect. Think about it. Think about what stayed with you and what you might want to carry into the next week ahead. There's no right or wrong answer, just awareness. See you next week again, guys. Right here at Psyche Abrished.